Man picks up sea creature unaware of what it is. The world is a beautiful place with so much for us to discover. Among its attractive features are oceans, those great bodies of water that link the 7 continents that we live on. The ocean is vast, so vast that humanity has only explored 20% of it. But this small percentage has yielded such wonders that have left many stumped over the years. Muhammad Said Ali was your average fisherman off the coast of Morocco. He didn't have a lot going on for him and was known only to do one thing: fish. Although Ali had been fishing for more than a year, he wasn't the best. He wasn't financially well off either, given that he depended solely on his daily catch on the ocean. But this would soon change. Before becoming a fisherman, Ali had been working in a toothpaste factory. But he lost his job after the management announced they'd be automating most of their processes. Without a way to feed his family, Ali ventured into the only thing he could at the time, diving into the ocean to snare any fish that could fetch a price at the market. It was early morning when Ali made his great catch. His haul was a hefty one, and he knew his family would eat all the fish they wanted that day. But as he emptied his haul onto his boat, he noticed something that made his brows furrow. He stepped back, unsure if what he was looking at was supposed to be among his catch. The creature in question was large and sausage-shaped. It looked like one of those massive hot dogs his sons loved eating on market day, but bigger. Measuring it against his arm, it reached his elbow from his wrist. The creature, whatever it was also pinkish, with many spike-like protrusions all over its body. It wiggled helplessly as Ali neared. Ali transferred his catch to a water basin to keep everything alive. He thought about setting the odd creature back into the ocean, but knew his family would get a kick out of the weird fish their dad brought home. With everything set, he turned on his motor and hurried back home. He had no idea what he was bringing to his house. Ali's wife screamed and jumped back when she saw the creature. But the boys laughed as they gathered around it, their faces drawn into the warmest smiles. Ali's lips curled as he watched them study the creature. With everything he'd brought back that morning, he'd be able to cover part of their tuition fees for that semester. If only he knew that the price of the odd creature could easily sort out a lifetime of tuition. He'd thought about selling it with the rest of his fish, but seeing as to how ugly his wife found it to be, he decided against it. Since it was still alive, Ali would set it free. If only he knew what he had in his hands. He let the creature go, releasing it back into the blue ocean. The sun was burning above him as he got into his truck and drove to the market. He had no clue that his kids and wife had told their neighbors about what he'd brought home and that the authorities were searching for him. Ali sold all his fish and went straight to the bank to clear his kids' tuition fee as planned. He also bought some provisions for the house and a gift for his wife with some of the remaining money. But as he was returning home, he got stopped by the authorities, who asked about the creature's whereabouts. They wanted to know if I sold it, Ali shared. They handed me some forms and told me what I had caught. I couldn't believe it. It turns out Ali had caught a rare sea cucumber, which went for more than $16,000 in the Asian fish market. But why were the police looking for him because of a mere water creature? Due to how valuable sea cucumbers are, they've become endangered as many people are searching for them. A kilo of regular sea cucumbers can cost upwards of $3,000, while the rarer, more weird-looking kind like the one Ali caught are more expensive. Since these creatures are endangered, it's illegal to fish for them in many countries. It wouldn't just be fines that he would face. If Muhammad couldn't get his story straight with the authorities, he'd be hauled away to jail. Muhammad was only just getting by, selling the fish he hauled every week. If he had to pay any fines or go to jail, he wouldn't be able to support his family anymore. There was nothing more important than his family. But would the authorities care? Muhammad immediately regretted asking when the police told him he'd have to go down to the nearest courthouse where a judge would decide if he was innocent or not. They gave him the summons and walked off. This made him extremely nervous. He didn't want to appear guilty in a courtroom, but he definitely wouldn't feel confident in front of a judge. Muhammad had to plan his next step. He had to talk to his family about his court date since he felt dishonest about keeping anything from them. He just hoped his wife wouldn't overreact. He sat her down and explained the situation he was in. Tears rolled down her cheeks as she worried for her husband. He told her it would be all right, but he had no idea how things would end. Now that he had reassured his wife, he had to make it to the court. He now had to make an arrangement to take a taxi into town. It would be a minor financial blow to him, but he understood that he had to do it. Muhammad got his things together, arranged the taxi, and went to bed. He felt nervous as he fell asleep. How would things go for him? Muhammad woke up the next morning feeling just as anxious as he did the previous day. He boiled the kettle, got dressed, and made a cup of coffee and a bowl of cornflakes. He recited his defense in his head over and over again. He managed to calm his nerves just in time. He heard a honk at his front door. The taxi had arrived, and he would soon be in front of a judge. Muhammad was now in the busy courthouse. He wasn't used to huge crowds in his village and felt claustrophobic. He could smell sweat in the air as it rose to the ceiling. The ventilation system definitely wasn't working correctly. Muhammad raced out of the bathroom and followed the man who called his name into the courtroom. He walked into the large room and saw the judge sitting behind his giant desk. He was asked to sit down in front of him and get ready. The judge asked Muhammad if he knew why he was there. He nodded his head nervously and looked down at the ground. He felt like he had never been in such deep trouble. Suddenly, the judge smiled at Muhammad and said, "Don't look so nervous. We just want to find out what the truth is. If you're innocent, we'll find that out too." Muhammad tried to have a better outlook on the situation. But the next hour that followed would be a long and grueling one. The judge stared at Muhammad for what felt like hours before he slowly opened his mouth and said one word that would be a pivotal moment in his life forever. "Innocent," he said before slamming his gavel down. Muhammad bowed his head and thanked the judge. He had just saved his family and his career with his verdict. After Muhammad cleared everything up and managed to get home from the town, he hugged his wife and told her the good news. He knew he had learned a valuable lesson. The next time he was fishing, he would make sure not to let his curiosity get the better of him. He was happy at his second chance to provide for his family, and he would never forget what happened.